One. Perfect. All right. So I don't really have much like this. I'm new to this, so I don't have like big introductions yet. So maybe when you come on next year, I'm gonna have like a big introduction. But if you want to start off by just like letting the listeners know who you are, and just
Sure.
kind of get everyone up to speed.
Yeah, my name's Brandon Wakefield. I'm a business owner, MMA fighter, entrepreneur, really. I'm from Victoria, Texas, and just trying to expand my knowledge in all areas business and doing okay so far.
So you're in business and martial arts. How do you kind of like because I know your passions in martial arts. Most likely your
Mhm.
passions are more in martial arts than business. So how do you like get yourself interested in business? Because that really takes that to like thrive. You know what I mean? Like you might
Yeah,
have a passion for martial arts, but doesn't mean you're gonna have a successful business.
sure. Well, man, honestly, there's a lot of similarities in both. And when I originally started out, I was more interested in business than I was martial arts.
Okay.
Ever since I was a kid, it was always a goal of mine to own my own businesses and become an investor and things like that. And over the years, I ended up switching my attention to becoming a fighter. And that kind of took all of my attention and focus and kind of made me put business and my entrepreneurship on the back burner. So it's kind of evolved weird, but I think by focusing so heavily on the martial arts and getting so, I would say, specialized in it, it helped me become good at certain businesses that I pursue, if that makes sense.
That does
Uh,
make sense. Because I know you learned from Rick Torres, correct?
Originally, man.
Okay.
So there's kind of there's a long journey with all that as well. When I first started out, it was in a real traditional martial art with Rick. It was judo and Japanese jiu-jitsu and things like that. Back then, I was going through some real tough times, just personally, and I was getting into a lot of drugs. I was making a lot of bad decisions, and I ended up seeking him out just as a counselor, looking for guidance because I knew that I was better than what I was giving out there, and I was essentially homeless at the time. And we
Yeah.
ended up talking through counseling, and he offered to train me for free if I would stay away from drugs, alcohol, all the things that were kind of burdening my life. So I took that deal with him, and he started my martial arts journey, and then it just evolved through there. I ended up switching to Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I really expanded past the traditional martial arts that I started, which kind of led me to getting where I am now and teaching arts that I didn't start in.
Honestly, that's a lot in there. The main point that I want to kind of like dive deeper into is more of like the drugs and the alcohol. Because
Mm-hmm.
me being a bartender, I know you were a bartender. I don't think you're a bartender anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
being in that nightlife can really take a pull on you. You're
Yeah,
surrounded by alcohol, one, and two, I mean, it's just like most people say you're a product of your environment. So if you're surrounded by the alcohol, you're surrounded by the drugs and the alcohol, you
hmm
kind of tend to do that. And for me personally, I had a scenario where I was caught up in that life. I moved to Austin in 2020 and I was more of like a weekend warrior, but then I started working at the bar and started consuming alcohol more and more and more.
hmm
And I had bigger goals, which was to start a business. My goals were to start a business, but here I am partying on my time off.
for sure.
So I want to know how you go about that now with your business. Like, how do you view alcohol? How do you view? Um,
So that's a really good question. Let me make sure my computer's on the charger so it doesn't die on us real quick.
Perfect.
But I'm glad that you.
We lost him. We lost him. He's coming back. Oh, we lost him. It's just me now. Boom, 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 boom. He'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back. Boom, 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 boom. He'll be back. Oh. Damn, I just spilled water all over me. The Matrix got him. Matrix attack. You're back.
My bad, bro.
All good, all good, all good.
All right, man. Hopefully I didn't mess too
Matrix.
much up.
No. You're good. You're good. You're good. Matrix attack. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, dude, it told me that I had plenty of bet. It told me I was at 10%, so I was like, oh, I should be fine. But anyway, my bad. No, so back to your question, man, and I'm glad. I'm glad we were. I may have you re-ask the question so I can get a.
So my main question is: you talked about getting into the drugs and the alcohol, and Rick was kind of like that mentor who kind of like said, "Hey, let's get away from this." I personally had that I would say similar scenario. I didn't join any martial arts, but I had the scenario where I'm trying to start a business and I'm now drinking alcohol almost every day of the week. And we're not talking about like just like going out and having a beer. We're talking about shots, and going out. And the biggest struggle for me was that growing the business while drinking alcohol, I felt like I couldn't do both of them. So I wanted to kind of know your thoughts on business and alcohol and like your personal perspective.
Yeah. So I kind of have a interesting take on that. So I mean, I was bartending when I was starting my business, and rather than view it as a deterrent, I was able to separate myself and understand why I was there. I think it did help that I was a fighter while I was a bartender. And I always recommend that for the people that are struggling with alcohol. It's not what are you trying to get away from that helped me. It was more what are you going towards, which is why I'm not a big fan of like AA and things like that. That are just so focused on staying away from alcohol. They're not really giving you a positive thing to drive you past the why not to, but I think it's more important to have a why it's important not to. Does that make sense? So like
Yes.
my big thing was I was a fighter while I was a bartender, so while I'm in camp I can't drink anyway, and so it was fairly easy for me to not drink and do these things even though I was working in the industry. And then I also had plenty of years where I was making all the wrong decisions. So it's fairly easy once you've lived that life for a certain period of time. Because I spent a lot of time bartending and partying and making all the wrong decisions and getting in trouble. And I kind of saw where that path was getting me. So it was easier for me to not want to travel down that path than to continue. But I owe my business and my success to bartending, because if it wasn't for bartending, I wouldn't have been able to create the revenue to start my businesses, because all businesses cost money to start.
Correct. Yep.
Um, and a lot of businesses don't grant you those same hours and pay to set you up to do the things you want. So I was able to start my first gym through bartending and while bartending. So I owned my first gym while I was a bartender, and I bartended for years while I was running my gym on the side. So I didn't have to rely on the income of my business, I could still bartend at night. And then I just ended up growing out of the position. So it wasn't that difficult once I made the decision that, man, the partying, the drinking, it's not doing me that good. But the income from this job opportunity does allow me to create more opportunity on this side. It made things quite a bit easier for me navigating the bar scene. And then just looking around, like once you sobered up and you just take a look around at the room, it's kind of gross sometimes. I would look around at the people, the choices, the decisions, the late nights, the bad diets, the drugs in the bathroom. I would see all this every night, and I'm like, man, these people are getting nowhere. And so it kind of just made things easier navigating and showing up, knowing that I had a job to do, not that I had a culture to appease.
That makes a lot of sense, and I can relate a lot because I'm currently still a bartender right now and trying to grow my business. So I kind of get what you're talking about. This podcast is more for like the coaches, consultants, but like if there are any bartenders watching this right now, like being in that industry, like would you have any advice for them? Like something that like if they saw this that could like set them ahead versus like keep on going backwards.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just use the opportunity. It is a good opportunity. The problem is that the industry swallows a lot of people. It ends up catching them up into the wrong lifestyle. And I think one of the big mistakes with bartending, especially, and I talk to my wife about this all the time, is that it just normalizes things that aren't normal. And it takes getting out of the scene to realize it. But if you can take any advice from me, it would be that these late night bar nights and these people and these decisions, whether it be drinking every night or drugs or whatever's going on that seems normal in the bar, if you take a step back, it's not that normal. There's a whole world going on out there during the day that doesn't revolve around alcoholism and drug use. And so just be careful that if you're in that industry, try not to normalize all these things that aren't normal. And it becomes very easy because everyone you're around, it's normal to them. It's normal to drink every night. It's normal to do drugs. It's normal to stay up till 4 a.m. All these things are normal, when in reality, in the broad scope of the world, it's not normal. So if you can keep the perspective that this lifestyle isn't normal, some of these decisions aren't normal, and separate yourself from a lot of these people, I think it makes it a little bit easier. So my biggest advice would be to keep yourself grounded and not get encompassed in the environment. And that was kind of one of my keys, and I didn't really notice it until I left, because all that stuff was normal to me. So that would be my biggest takeaway. And then and just have goals and priorities, rather than, like I said, looking at what you don't want to do. I would just recommend looking at what's more important. What are you really trying to accomplish by being here? And if that's making money so that you can pay your bills and set things up on the side, that's great. But I don't recommend being a career bartender. I think it can set you up. It built my first business, and that's fantastic. But do you want to be 65 bartending? And only you can ask that.
No, I like I said, I relate, and I'm trying to currently, as we're talking, get out of the industry. Just, but like I said, like you said too, it's kind of like a stepping stone. You kind of need it. Like
A
they
hundred
need
percent.
you, and you need them.
A hundred
Um,
percent.
with that being said, when it comes to business, I do like this is like a personal belief of mine after like not drinking for a very long time and also being into that state where I was like trying to grow a business because my first business actually failed during COVID. But
Hmm.
I could say it failed because COVID, but it really failed because of me.
For
It
sure.
failed because of the decisions I was making during that time. I was out drinking, and as a bartender working pretty much full time with the nightlife, consuming about 60 to 70 hours a week of your time, and then you're consuming alcohol, you literally have no time left.
Right.
So I guess my question is for like the coaches, consultants, business owners who are out there, they're trying to grow business, they're have a successful business, but they're they might be drinking alcohol. You know what I mean? That might be a big thing for them. Is there a balance? Like, do you see a balance between business and alcohol? Like, can there be a balance?
I think so. I think you can have a balance of both. The question just becomes then like, what what are you gaining from it? So like as a business owner, as not only that, but I'm always looking into personal development. I'm looking into how can I grow as a human, what things make me better and what things make me worse. And at the end of the day, when you paint the picture, 90% of the time alcohol doesn't make you better. I mean, it only makes you worse. And so with that, why do you want to add and incorporate things that aren't making you better? All of us, even if we're you know we're doing, no matter what we're doing, we don't have enough time in the day. I'm constantly running. I'm up from 7 in the morning all the way until 1 in the morning, or every night, every day, running something. Today I've already done 4 different things for 4 different businesses. So like it's you I don't know, man. I think you can have balance. I'm not going to sit here and say that like you can't drink and be successful. I know a lot of millionaires that drink and are successful. I know some that don't drink and they're not successful. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's really it. I wouldn't consider it like something that has harsh rules. I like just the same concept as like I have a lot of friends that smoke weed, super successful, and I also have friends that smoke weed that suck. They don't do
no,
nothing.
that makes
Like,
sense.
so it's
That makes
really up
sense.
to the individual and how they're able to handle things. I was never really too good at it. I have an addictive personality, whether it's self-improvement, whether it's martial arts, whatever it is, whatever I get into, I have an addictive personality. So knowing that, I have to stay away from alcohol, just because I get it. I go too hard. I always say, "Oh, I'm just going to start with one," and it just ends up snowballing. So knowing that,
Yep.
it's just easier for me not to do it. Now you will see, like I may sound like a hypocrite because, like, I mean, if you look behind me, I have, you know what I mean.
Alcohol
But
behind. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but if you actually pay attention, not a single one of these are open. So I like them. They're nice. They're fancy. I view them really as art. But I'm not sitting in here coming into my office every day, sipping on these things.
Taking a
Uh,
sip.
yeah, I don't. Actually, I don't. I don't have any at all.
My
Most
biggest
of
thing when I was to drink, it was like I was celebrating something. It was always a celebration, like I achieved something which wasn't really much of a success, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go celebrate. And
Yeah, celebrate and then sadden it. Like you can always find an excuse, like something went wrong. Oh, I had a hard day. And those are my favorite times to not drink because it really just validifies that you don't need these outside substances to dictate how you feel. You got to be able to tolerate these things. But yeah, man, I'm not, as you know, I do 75 hard, so I don't drink. So it's
I saw that,
but.
which is another question I wanted to ask because 75 hard. I binged watched, oh, not binge watched, but I binged scrolled through your whole Facebook last night. Just sat there
Mhm.
and scrolled. Because I want to know as much as I could about you, but we're gonna know more in this podcast. But I just want to come prepared. I spent
Yeah.
all day moving yesterday, so we moved into our new place, and then I stayed up for the
Awesome.
rest of the night, just kind of doing my research. And I did notice that you were doing the 75 hard, and I
Mhm.
personally tried that. I personally tried it.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the biggest things that helped me kind of see that alcohol was my like limit. Like if I'm a
Yeah.
superhero, alcohol is my kryptonite. It's the
Sure.
thing that's gonna pull me down and take me backwards.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna lie, 75 is hard. Like
Yeah.
it is hard. I tried it, and the biggest thing for me was the water and the reading.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, what are you doing to like kind of balance your business, 75 hard, and also keep your wife happy? You know what I mean? You got to keep your wife
Yeah.
happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Really, the 75 hard, I think for me, and it encompasses all of that. And it really just puts myself first. And I think that was kind of a big key as far as my business, my relationships, everything else. I will say 75 hard for me, and I get nothing from telling people I'm on it, or like I'm not sponsored by them or anything. But it really changed everything for me. Like the first time I did it, I failed 3 times before getting to this point. But yeah, the water was tough. The reading's easy. Obviously, I like to read. So that was easy. Really, the hard thing was just the water. But now I've been doing it so long that it's not tough anymore. Matter of fact, it almost my biggest problem now with it is that I've been doing it for so long that it's just boring. So I'm not excited about, like, it's just another day. So I do all this stuff. I don't have to think about it, and I need to be careful because it's when I become complacent that I'll miss one little thing, something stupid like the progress picture.
Yep.
Those are the things that'll catch me up, not because I'm lazy or I'm not doing the things, but I just forget to pay attention to the little details, which is a lesson in itself. That don't get too comfortable in thinking these things are easy and just given, because it takes one little miss of a detail and you're completely starting that program over. But as far as like my wife and my relationship goes and my business, it exponentially helps all that, because if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't be taking care of all these other things, my wife, my family. If I don't constantly fill my pitcher, I can't keep pouring out. You know what I mean?
That
So
makes a lot of sense.
so my big priority with this 75 hard is to make sure that no matter what, I'm taking care of myself every day. My fitness is on point, my mentality is on point. I'm not polluting it with bad food or alcohol or anything like that. And by filling my cup up like that every day, it gives me the energy. It gives me and I have plenty of time. It's just prioritization. So I get all this stuff done, and by being so regimented, it opens up a lot of windows and opportunities to spend time with my family, to do the things that are necessary, because I'm so much more calculated now than when I'm off just doing whatever.
Yeah, no, and 75 hard is like meant for the tough. Like it's
Mhm.
built for mental toughness. And
Yeah.
another guy out there who talks about mental toughness, who considers himself the top G,
Yeah.
Mr. Andrew Tate.
Hmm.
Um, what do you think about him? What do you think about his beliefs and stuff like that?
Um, I like him. I like the guy. I'm a big fan of guys like him. Obviously, there's some things I don't agree with, and there's some lifestyle, like there's we're a little bit different. But I will say I have respect for him because he does value a lot of the same things that I value. He values knowledge, self improvement, and I'm a big fan of this. It seems like there's a culture. I don't like calling it the blue pill people or whatever, you know what I mean? But
Yep.
it does seem like there is a lot of mentors out there, especially for young boys and young men, that are promoting masculinity, that are promoting being a better man. And I like a lot of the concepts. I'll watch quite a bit of his videos. I catch myself on Rumble every once in a while just going through his videos, just because they're good content, and he does provide a lot of valuable insight. And I think a lot of the controversial things that he says, he does it with intention. He's a businessman. I do the same thing with my post. So I take a lot of things that I catch in media in general with a grain of salt. But overall, I like what he's doing. I think there's far worse people to criminalize than someone out here promoting men being better men. You know?
Yep. No, as a person without a father, I've never like he promotes that masculinity, which I feel like I lacked growing up. Only grew up with my mom and my two brothers. So
Mhm.
he Andrew Tate said this, and I'm gonna quote it and read it. Your physicality and mentality as a man are linked, and you cannot be happy and strong in your mind and weak in your body. You need to have a strong mind. Wait, you can't have a strong mind with a weak body. So, what do you think about that? Like, you're in the martial arts. Like, how do you see like that related, being like a strong mind and a strong body? Like, do you see those connected?
Yeah, 100%. And I didn't think that I would, but I really do. I think one of the first steps, and kind of you learn that in 75 hard too. One of the first steps, I mean, you have to physically take care of yourself, and when you look in the mirror, you need to be able to be proud of who you are and the shape that you're in. And I do that every day. I have a hard time believing that someone that doesn't physically um, isn't physically strong. It's just you see these same things, like you see the same patterns playing out in their mentalities. So I would definitely say that it's a good indicator of where people are mentally. And even if you just look at it like, and I don't fat shame or like, but when you see someone that obviously lacks discipline as far as their health, where else is that translating? And one of my favorite quotes is, how you do anything is how you do everything. And
Yep.
if that concept applies to your fitness, if you are walking around completely overweight, it doesn't just tell me that you're making bad decisions with your discipline eating, but you also are having those same discipline area or in other areas of your life. Notice, if you look at those same people, you'll notice that their cars are a wreck. They don't take care of their things. They're just not disciplined. And I think that the first step for creating that mental discipline and that physical discipline and discipline in every area is just getting disciplined with your health. And I think once you do that, it really helps other things fall into place. And so I kind of fully agree with them on this quote.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, big fan of Andrew Tate too. Honestly, I dedicated 2 months of YouTube to just pushing all of his content out.
Nice.
Made a lot of views, but no money. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, um,
He has a lot of people doing that for him. He's
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like I said, my goal is to aspire to be a business owner. Where I'm gonna try anything and everything. With that being said, the next thing I want to talk about is shiny object syndrome. Because if there's one thing I suffer from the most as an entrepreneur, it's going to be the shiny object syndrome.
okay.
Which means, like I said, I was in the Andrew Tate niche. I tried to start a bounce house business.
Hmm.
I had a marketing agency, but when I had the marketing agency, I was trying to do drop shipping. I was trying to do like anything and everything. I've controlled it more now, way better than I used to in the past. Do you have that yourself? And if so, how do you kind of like, okay, they're like, okay, let's pull back and let's focus on the main thing.
Hmm. Yeah, sometimes I catch myself, but that's half the excitement. I think every once in a while I'll get an idea or this idea for a business that I just think is like the next big idea. You see, I've done it with like my last one was I did it with the soap company, and in every single time, I don't know, man. I heard this quote or this theory that so many people have this issue and they end up jumping from one thing to another. And it, by doing so much jumping, you really never gain traction in anything.
Mm-hmm.
That if someone would just pick one thing and just buckle down and settle through the highs, the lows. There's like this point that most people don't get past, because once they hit this first plateau, they're jumping to the next one. And then they have to hit that first plateau again, then they're jumping to the next one.
Yep.
Whereas if they just continue to drive down that road through the ups and downs, they could have already been successful, but they're too busy jumping. I was fortunate in my first business it's my passion, which is a martial arts gym. So I'd never had the question of jumping to the next thing. Sometimes I'll do it for fun, but at the end of the day, my martial arts gym is my passion. It's what I wake up to do every day, and what I go to sleep thinking about. So I don't really have to worry about it too much. And I just keep that same mentality with any other business that I'm going to pursue, which I'm into real estate now. But I have a deep passion for it. And I also understand that there's going to be ups, there's going to be valleys. I mean, I just had eviction court the other day. There's there's always something. But instead of jumping ship, I just knew that that was going to be par to the course. Like I know that there's going to be all these things, but I've made the decision that I'm committing to it. I don't have to worry about like, oh, well, I'll just jump to something else. I've committed. I'm going to own the gym. I'm going to invest my money in real estate, and I'm going to own properties that I rent out. And whether the highs, lows, or whatever come out, if I just stick through it at the end, I can't help but be successful because I've taken so many lessons along the way. And I think people's biggest problem is that first lesson, they just jump ship instead of taking the
Yep.
lesson. I almost get excited now, like especially with real estate. There's always something that pops up that I'm like, dude, this is so exciting. And so many people, I think, look at it the wrong way. Like with this eviction lady, it was my first eviction. But my wife was like, oh, we have to do this. And, this is stressful. And I'm like, no, it's not. We get to learn this process early in the game. So if we ever have to deal with this again, we've already knocked it out. By the end of this, like we're going to do this a lot. So you might as well get good at it. So I just have a different mentality. I kind of trained it to where instead of, these problems being problems, I view them as like learning opportunities. And so I almost get excited when little things pop up because I'm like, hell yeah, it's time to figure
Time
this
to
out.
go.
Yeah.
How do you determine like what would be a shiny object syndrome and what would be like something that's like on the path to your vision, your mission, and your purpose?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So like does it fit in with your morals? Does it fit in with like your vision for what you're trying to build? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm sure that other things are going to pop up that I'm like, man, I really want to get involved in this. It fits my vision for what I want in the future, and it plugs right in. So I think you just really have to look at like, what is your vision? Do you even have a clear vision, or we just like throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks? And I think that's what a lot of people do is they just throw shit at the wall and they're like, well, wait for something to stick instead of formulating and calculating a clear vision and then taking steps to make sure that whatever decisions they're making are on that vision board. So like, that's yeah. You just have to evaluate it, and only you would know. All our visions are a little bit different, so I would just tell people to have a clear plan, man. And if you have a clear plan, then any idea that comes up, if it fits the plan, it fits. If not, then it is what it
Scrap
is.
it.
Yeah.
Scrap it. With that being said, hold up. I'm gonna speak first. With that being said, there is some new stuff coming out. So we have like I don't have them personally, so I'm gonna use this as an example. But like the Vision Pros, people are gonna be like this in the near future. They're gonna be walking around like spaced out. Do you
Mhm.
see like the future of martial arts on Vision Pros? Like, do you see the future of your teachings where people are learning from you, sitting at their house, and they're in this world, which we would call back in the day the Matrix,
Mhm.
where they're plugged in and they're learning all the skills, they're working, and they don't even have to leave their house anymore. Like, do you see that a part of the vision of your teachings and where the industry's going?
Yeah, I do think a lot of people are heading in that direction. I think I'm kind of blessed in my industry that especially like real fighting, it's hands on. I can teach lessons all day, sure, and I'm not opposed to doing online content by any means. And I think AI is going to be pretty crazy in the future, and you can already see virtual boxing and things like that. But as far as what I do is I teach people real life tactics. I teach men and young women how to defend themselves in real life situations. And you can't learn that on a computer. I don't care who you are. You have to have someone actually giving you threat and punching you in the face. And if you're in front of a screen, even if you have a simulation of someone throwing a punch at you, there's no danger. So with that, whatever you're learning isn't real. So I have the luxury with my business that you have to come in and see me. You have to come train with me. Otherwise, everything that you're training is just theory. Yet the only way to test it is to actually have the threat of violence, to actually have someone throwing a punch at you. And
Yep.
there's no way around it. So with my and honestly, I wouldn't even want to do that. Like, as much as I don't mind getting my information out there, I think one of my favorite parts about what I do in the gym is that connection with people, that real understanding and knowledge transfer, and that real threat of danger. And so my primary focus is personal.
Personal.
And
Can I
I, yeah.
rebuttal? Can I rebuttal real quick on that?
Mhm.
So with you doing the personal and like all your time and attention is focused on the personal, what if there's another 2020 without mentioning exactly what happened? Because I don't know if they censor that stuff on YouTube. What if there's another lockdown, another 2020? Did that disrupt your business during that time?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that too, because it didn't affect us at all.
Okay.
But also don't play into the bullshit. So like, they told us that we couldn't operate a gym. Cool. That was black tarps away from, sure, we're not operating a gym. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And who's gonna come and force to us? Like, you're gonna come tell us not to run our gym. Nobody's going to come tell us anything. Most of the time, the law enforcement doesn't agree with these things anyway. So it's not like the FBI agents are coming to MMA gyms and being like, you better not. The only people that shut down are the people that complied. And if you know anything about me, I don't comply.
Love
So
it.
it's I'm not worried about it. I hope they do try to tell us that we can't run business, and I've been waiting, because they're talking about doing a shutdown again, and I'll
Yep.
tell them the same thing that I told them the first time, like, can't help you,
Yeah.
if
Come
you
and shut us
want,
down.
yeah,
Come and
come shut us down, go ahead, you can try. But our doors, there, and our doors are still blacked out to this day. If you were to look in our building, you can't see inside. So what we're doing is, it's up to us. So
no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I mean, 2020. I mean, it was like we didn't know what was going on in 2020, but
mhm.
now we're more aware. Now we know that like the things that they're trying to do. So with that being said, I want to keep like a little bit more towards like this virtual and martial arts on virtual. Alex Hermosi, you know who he is?
Yeah,
He
I'm a
just
big fan.
he just partnered with a online platform called School, which is what a lot of coaches and consultants are using. They're pushing all their content online. They're building communities.
Mhm.
Do you see yourself building a school platform?
So it's interesting. So I am a big Alex Hermosi fan. I've read quite a few of his books, and I listen to his podcast every day when I go for my outdoor workout. No, I haven't seen, honestly, the program, but I think it's a good idea, and I'm not opposed to it at all. Especially getting that information out there. It's kind of like one of those things where you provide quality content once, and then it just continues
Yep,
to create leverage and have an impact much past the one-on-one that you have with each individual. So I'm not opposed to it at all. I think it's a good idea, and honestly, I should spend more time diving into those areas, because that is where more money gets made. But I haven't yet. So no, I think it's a good idea, but I haven't got to that point yet.
got it. Out of all the mentors out there, who would be the most influential on your life right now? Like, who is that one that you're like, man, I'm looking at him every single day, and I'm trying to figure out what I can learn from him.
Are you talking in person, or are you talking just figures in general?
Anyone, it could be anyone. You could be watching them on YouTube,
Yeah,
TikTok.
dude. I think Alex is one of them. I think that matter of fact, it was one of these here that really changed my whole business. I don't know where the book is. It's up here somewhere.
Dang, I hope you had it. I hope you had the book.
I do. It's let's see where it is. Uh, it's somewhere. My bad.
All good, all good.
But anyway. Oh, here it is. This
Oh,
one.
perfect, perfect. Right
So
timing.
this one really like changed my
Gym
gym.
one. Okay.
Uh, this is a fantastic book, and I will tell you, this book, I read it the first time I did 75 hard, This book changed everything. I literally doubled profits in my gym after reading this book.
Dang.
No joke. And now we're at a point, my gym's almost 5 years old now. And we're at a point because of this book that I'm making more profit every month. Is I'm hitting new highs. So just this past, we're at the end of February. At the end of February, if I look at let me look at my numbers real quick. I have I made $600, which isn't crazy, but I made $600 more than last month. And last month was my highest profit month since starting the gym. So
Yeah.
now every month, my gym is more and more profitable. And I 100% accredit it to this book by Alex.
Can
So
can all coaches and consultants or business owners take something from that book, or is it just for gyms?
So this one, I will say this one seems to be for gyms, but the concepts I feel like could be related to any membership based organizations. Does that
Okay.
make sense? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of these things have to do with membership based sales. Like this wasn't even for martial arts. This is for like fitness gyms.
Yep.
I just use the lessons in my martial art gym.
Nice.
But there's a lot of good concepts in there, and I think it'd be good for any coach to really just go over that, because even if you don't have a membership based program, it really just helps you dive in and understand the 3 ways you can make money, the 3 ways that you can market, that just the ways it helps you understand really money coming in and then making sure that money's not going out. So
Well,
it's
a lot of people are using that platform school, which is membership. Like
mhm.
they're using that and
Yeah.
they're trying to build their memberships. What could they use from that book to grow that? Because I would say the biggest problem, because I tried school myself. I'm not gonna lie, I jumped into the school platform and I
Mhm.
wanted to grow a few school groups. And I'm not gonna lie, you kind of need to be somewhat of an expert, or you need a large followings, or
Mhm.
just more time. Like it takes time, just like any business. So for the people, I would say just starting out with the school platform, is there something they can take from that book to make them maybe just a tad more successful?
Well, I'm not familiar really with the school concept, so I really don't know too much what the other than I guess trying to provide content on a membership based. Is that what it is? That
Yeah,
what
so
it is?
basically you have an offer. For instance, I'm gonna offer you like it's like an ongoing offer. Like I'm gonna show someone how to do a podcast. They're
Yeah.
gonna jump into my school group, and I'm gonna show them every week, every month, every week how to be successful with the podcast. And they're
Okay.
gonna pay me $20 a month. And
Hmm.
my goal is to keep them members. My goal is to keep them a member, constantly
Hmm.
paying me $20 a month.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for people though is they don't know how to pitch the right offer or find that right pain point to get the customer in.
Hmm.
That's where
Yeah.
I struggle the most, and I see a lot of people struggling there.
For sure. I mean, you're going to have to market like in a situation like that. You're going to have to find your target audience, and you're going to have to market to them directly, whether that's Facebook ads or whatever it is. And there is strategies in the book that kind of help you with as far as what content people are looking for. And I've used some of the concepts. Some of them have worked, some of them haven't. But I've also it may be a little different with the online platform compared to mine, because this book did give me some things, some kind of tricks that I can do. Like you may have seen that I do 4 week challenges for the women where they get their
Yep.
money back, stuff like that. That all comes from this book,
Nice.
and it ends up being one of my biggest. It's probably one of my best marketing strategies. It works every single month. But not only that, I don't feel bad for selling what I'm selling, because I'm providing a quality service. And I think that's kind of the key in a lot of these businesses is if you guys are like, if we're providing quality service and we're actually giving knowledge, it only takes a matter of time before people realize that, man, like this is good. This is worth the money. It's if I'm trying to sell you something that's not worth shit, that's when I can kind of feel scummy about it. And so I don't mind doing these sales or these certain things or these like marketing tactics to bring people in, because I know that at the end of the day, even if I'm trying to convince you to come get a membership with me, I know that in 3 months you will be thanking me. So
Right.
it makes me selling easier, and then it's just genuine. So I don't have to sit here and market and pitch so hard to you, because you can tell when you talk to me that I believe in what I'm selling, and you can't fake that. Like I'm not trying to hustle you. I'm trying to help you. And when you talk to me about it, I'm going to convince you not that you should get it, but that I believe in it. And if I can convince you that I believe in it, then that's enough.
Damn.
I don't have to convince you to believe in it. I have to convince you that I believe in it. And that alone will help make the sales. And I genuinely believe in everything that I sell. So it just makes it easy to be genuine with people. I don't have to bullshit you. I can just tell you how I feel. I know that these programs will help change your life. And I truly believe in it. And I have the track record and the history to show that it does. So just trust me.
Yeah,
And
no,
then,
that makes a lot of sense.
so yeah, and I don't know, man. I would have to honestly tell you, whenever I get into that school platform or an online platform, it's something that I've been interested in. But I don't know. I'm not. And one thing I don't do is give education on things that I'm not qualified.
Yeah,
So I don't know if this book could help on that platform, because I have no qualifications in that area.
got it. Well, I'm gonna check the book out anyways, or similar ones, because there's a couple ones that I want to read from Alex Hermosi. I think it was like some offer one, perfect offer, or
$1 million offers is a good
yeah,
one. Dude, everything that Alex writes is great. And then if you just listen to his podcasts, they're fantastic. Going back, there's a lot of guys like that. One of my, Andy Frisella, the guy from 75 Hard, I listen to him. Everything he posts, I listen to. I really respect his theories. There's a lot of guys like that, like Ed Milet, super good guy to listen to. You look at all kinds of people, man. There's some really good guys out there. Really just, and what's cool about YouTube, and this is why I love YouTube so much, is that just by typing Alex Hermosi and Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, all these all these masculine men that are doing
yeah.
great things, then your algorithm starts changing, and then every video that pops up on your feed is like someone that is along those
Yeah,
lines.
something
Uh,
good.
yeah, dude, that's why I love every morning I go for my jog. I love just putting on YouTube. I'm like, cool, what's the algorithm got for me? Because I've made it clear what I want from it, and it provides every morning. So it's pretty cool.
With that being said, I think I have like two more questions left.
Yeah.
The next question would be, what would be your morning routine? Something that's gonna get you amped up, ready for the day.
My routine every day is the almost exact same, especially if I'm on 75 hard. But I wake up in the morning, chug my first quarter gallon of water. I always do a gallon of water a day, so I try to knock out my first quarter gallon, which is just one of these basic white girl Stanley cups. But I'll chug one of these, and then I need some sort of caffeine to get this party started. So I'll either drink an energy drink or coffee, and then I go straight for my outdoor workout. So whether it's a high paced walk, whether it's a jog, it just depends on what the workout is. But I'll go do my outdoor workout. A lot of the time, I have my son in the morning, so I'll take him for like a stroll around the neighborhood, and then that's when I put my podcast on for the morning, and it kind of just sets my mood for the day. It's always something business related, something self development related, but I will listen to that on my walk. And then when I get home after that walk, I'm already fired up for the day. So everything else kind of just fits right in. I usually give it about an hour between that workout, and then I'll come home and I'll read. I do about 10-15 minutes a day. I don't go crazy on it, but I'll read my 10-15 pages in my book. And then I'll have my lunch or my breakfast, whatever time it is by then, and then I'll go do my second workout. So my second workout's at the gym. I'll go do my strength and conditioning, my weights, my workout, and then I'll come home, spend some time with the family before my wife has to go to work or before my son has to go to his grandma's, so that I can go to the gym. Then
Nice.
every
And you
day I
said,
just
is your schedule pretty much the same every single day?
yeah, it's almost identical every day. Even on weekends, I do this exact same thing. I wake up at the same time. I go on my morning workout. I do the exact same things. I get my indoor workout in. I usually try to have two workouts done by lunch. And then I own a martial art gym, and I still train, coach. I do all these things, but I'm still very active as far as my training. So these two workouts I consider my 75 hard workouts.
Yep.
But then I go train for hours after that. So these are just my baseline requirements, and to get my morning started where I want. And then I go into the gym at 3, do all my requirements there, because there's so much behind the scenes that people don't see. I have to clean the whole place. I have to make sure that everything's in line. I have to do my marketing. I have to do my social media. I have to do whatever for the business. So I'll go in at 3. My first class starts at 4:15, and then I'll run classes all the way until 9 o'clock at night. At that point, which I'll do it. I'll do all the cleaning. I'll do all
Yeah.
that stuff.
How do
And
you avoid a burnout? Because that sounds like a busy schedule.
dude, I will tell you, it is. It's crazy busy. It's
Right.
like my days, honestly, it feels like my days never stop. And I was just talking to my wife about this. I think one of the biggest, and I'm running into that issue right now. I don't burn out because I see the rewards so much. It's hard to. I think burnout happens a little bit more when you're not getting the success. But
Mm.
I see so many positive benefits to what I'm doing that it kind of helps prevent the burnout. Because I'm like, man, even though I'm like, it feels like I'm always doing something. I keep feeling rewards, and so
Yeah.
it's like, it makes it a little bit easier. But I'm human too. So like, there's times when I'm like, damn, dude, I don't want to do anything. I just want to go watch a movie, or like, and I have little demons in my head too. I'm like, dude, man, maybe I'll just go. I got all these high dollar whiskeys back here. Man, I earned it. Maybe I'll just sit down
I
and
earned
I'll
it.
just class. You know what I mean? I've been working so hard, um, but it's just the discipline, and really just taking the time if I need it on a Sunday. Sunday's my least busy day. I still do all the same things. I just don't go to the gym on Sundays. So I'll use, and then I trick myself into like things that are breaks. So, and stuff still has to get done on Sundays. I still have to mow the yard. I still have to do all these things,
Yeah.
and so I'll
Never
trick
stop.
myself, dude. It never ends.
Never
But I'll trick
stop.
myself into saying like, oh well, mowing the yard, that'll be my break today. You know what I mean? Because it's
Mm.
like the easiest. You don't have to think. So,
Yeah. Put some
but
earphones in, turn some
yeah,
music
man.
on, mow the lawn.
Yeah, it's tough. One thing, and I'm trying to figure it out as well, but one thing I've realized though that I'm struggling with is when I became more disciplined and focused, I feel almost like there's so much to do and so little time that I feel overwhelmed. When I wasn't focused on any of this stuff, I don't know how I got anything done. Like, I would be like, if I was drinking at night or if I was doing all these things, I was just neglecting so many areas that when I'm on top of my shit, I realize like, dude, this is crazy to accomplish all of this. I don't know what I was doing before, because if I was not like, when I'm not on 75 hard, like I have no priorities like this, and so I just feel like ignorance is bliss, bro.
No,
So
I feel that. I feel that a lot. I can relate 100%.
yeah, man, I still do. I still feel overwhelmed sometimes, especially with just how much I have going on in the day, and that I never get time to breathe. But I'm hoping that through time, I kind of can learn to delegate things a little bit better, and I can learn to manage time a little bit better. One thing that I know that's not going to help is all those actions that weren't getting me to where I want to be. So I'm really just trying to stay away from those. Not drinking. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm really just trying to make sure that the things that I'm doing are heading me in the right direction. And even though it may seem overwhelming, just like the businesses we were talking about earlier, the only way that it's going to not be overwhelming is to like figure out processes and systems. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like, what systems can I build to make things run smoother?
That makes,
So I'm
yeah.
working on it. I don't know, man. I don't know, because I'm not. It's tough.
It is tough. Like I said, and you mentioned a good point. If you're drinking, like, I mean, it makes things a lot worse.
Dude, but you know what? Like I said, I felt like I didn't feel constantly behind when I was drinking,
Me neither.
yeah, like you don't feel like you need to do anything. I remember like I would drink and then I'd feel like shit the next day, and so I could spend all day on the couch recovering. Like now, thinking about wasting a whole day on the couch, I'm like, how the I don't have time. There's no way. But back then it was just so normal. So I don't know, man. Like it's funny because it clouds, and when you don't set certain responsibilities on yourself, it's easier, man. So I get why a lot of people, they choose that life. They go to work, or and I'm not hating at all. They go to work for 8 hours, they come home and they do jack shit. I get it. That sound like it's easy, but that's not the life that I chose. That's not the life I think that you're going to choose. And people are cut a little bit different. So once we understand that, then I kind of understand, like, no, my life is, it's going to be busy. It's going to be structured. I'm going to be working twice as hard. But in the end, I know that because of that, that's going to get me more than the people that aren't doing this stuff. So
Yeah.
I just keep trucking.
That's a lot. You've given a lot of value today. I feel like you've given a lot of value. You've brought us in on who you are and what you do. With that being said, if you could go back all the way
Mhm.
to age 18 and give yourself one piece of advice, this advice is going to set you. This advice, if you gave yourself this advice at 18, this would give you a really good running head start.
Mhm.
What would that be?
Nothing I tell myself would have changed anything. Matter of fact, I probably would have told myself, "Hey, man, you're gonna fuck up. Go fuck up harder and get it out of the way, so that way you're not bullshitting for all of your 20s like you did." I would say, hey, you are skating by in this like average area. You need to go ahead and jump start to rock bottom. That way you can get your
Mm,
shit together. It's the type of, for me, in order for me to like really get my shit together, I got to hit a low, and I mean a real low. I can't just like, you can't just give me a little dip. Like you can't give me a DWI and think that I'm gonna like, oh, I got to get my shit together. No, I need to like, you gotta send me down. Like I need you give me some jail time, give me some cases, give me some. So I would have just told myself, like, I wouldn't have even given any positive advice. I would have said, hey man, go start fucking some shit up. Go ruin some shit. Go ruin some relationships. Go mess up faster, so that way you can just get that out of your system and go ahead. Because I spent my 20s taking way too long to hit rock bottom, when if I would have just done it earlier, I could have had way more time to start heading up.
damn, no, that's powerful. Honestly, I can, like I said, I feel that 100%. I feel
Yes,
that.
sir.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Let me hit the pause button real quick. I think this has to upload. Like, hold up.